Welcome to the Kindness Principles Podcast. I believe kindness is a cultural strategy that empowers people to create meaningful lives, healthier relationships, stronger organizations, and a world where everyone can thrive. My name is Cindy Smarsh, and I'm really glad you're here. Hey, everybody. Welcome, and thanks for being here. I'll tell you what, one of my favorite things to do is to learn from other people. I just love it. I'm a lifelong learner and I love to read and I love to attend training events and things like that and just soak in the brilliance of other people. Someone who has recently crossed my path is Jill Lublin. She is an author, a speaker, a coach, a teacher. She teaches about publicity and marketing your business. So if you're into that at all, I'd check her out at jilllublin.com, Lublin, jilllublin.com. Anyway, so I was recently at a workshop and she spoke about PR. And of course, I'm in business and need to learn these things. And she has several books, but of course, the one I grabbed first was this one, The Profits of Kindness: How to Influence Others, Establish Trust, Build Lasting Business Relationships. I thought that was an interesting concept, the profit of kindness. And so, of course, I wanted to read her book. So I'm going to share some of her thoughts today with you about the profits of kindness. And this is a book all about kindness as a strategy and an approach to really thriving in business. And I love that. I just love it. And I believe she refers to it as heart to heart currency. And so we're going to talk about those approaches today. But what struck me when I was reading this book and thinking about today is that all 7 of these approaches she talks about in terms of business are also kindness approaches in our lives that are going to make our personal lives better. And even if we give all these things to ourselves, how our relationship with ourselves can be better and we can feel better in life. So I'd love for you to take these in and think about the roles they can each play in your work environment, or if you're running a business and so forth, and or in your life, in your relationships with other people. So the first one she talks about is connection. So, we are wired to connect to others. It is a biological human need. Our DNA involves wanting to connect to other people and make real connections, organic connections, not just likes on Facebook, but rather truly knowing each other. And so she talks about the power of connection when, when you're building a business or when you're wanting to take care of people. So to really know your team members, really know other companies you're doing business with, know your customers and really connect with them. And of course, we know the desperate need for this in our lives as well. I read a book a few years ago and did a podcast about the anatomy of loneliness. And it's really interesting. The research is indicating that the more people are on their phones, like on social media on their phones, when they feel like they're connecting, actually, the more they do that, the more lonely they are. So it's really interesting because social media gives us the illusion that we're connecting, and we are connecting at some level, but it's like breadcrumbs of connection compared to sitting around a table in a dining room and sharing a meal and having real conversation, for example, or working together on a project where we all feel really empowered by the mission. It's things like that, or just sitting and being present with someone when they're in the hospital recovering from surgery. So anyway, connection is a huge approach, according to Jill. Number two, gratitude. Gratitude. So we want to be a thankful leader, a thankful coworker, a thankful customer, a thankful sales representative, a thankful partner, a grateful friend, an appreciative student, uh, anything. Showing thankfulness. I went out to dinner the other night with a friend of mine who was visiting from California, and she offered to pay for our dinner, and she's the one who traveled all the way from California, and I was like, I but I really wanted to do that. And she's like, "Oh, I'm going to do that." So there was a mutual appreciation we were feeling for taking time out for each other, for being willing to carve out an evening together, traveling to see one another, and so forth. I write in a gratitude journal every morning. I think about the last 24 hours and what I have to be grateful for, besides, the thousand things I'm grateful for every day. Like, I could name all my closest people and how much I love my work, and just, on and on and on. But I look for, in the previous 24 hours, the unique things about the previous 24 hours that I feel grateful for. And it can be everything from a powerful conversation with one of my coaching clients, to someone being willing to be a guest on the Kindness Principles podcast and scheduling that with me, to the weather being beautiful and enjoying a wonderful hike outdoors and enjoying nature, to, it's just it goes on and on and on. And what I find is that from writing in this gratitude journal every morning, I am approaching every day looking for those specific things to be grateful for, to write in my journal the next day. And it just puts you in a high vibe, puts you in a great mindset all the time. And if we can also adopt this in our workplaces and notice what people are doing that we appreciate, instead of just taking for granted people are always doing what they're supposed to be doing or whatever, but noticing, who's gone the extra mile, or who always shows up in a certain way that's helpful, or, whatever it is, but to show that gratefulness and gratitude for your customers. I thank my coaching clients all the time for letting me be their coach. It's one of the great honors of my life to walk with people through their lives and through their businesses and so forth. And I am deeply grateful that I get to do what I love and serve people. Which, by the way, if you have any interest in coaching in your organization, or if you're a leader just struggling to work through overwhelm or burnout or anything, need that kind of support, or want to really work on a kindness, people first culture, and want some coaching support with that, if you'd like to have a conversation with me, please email me, Cindy@cindysmarsh.com. And just let me know what's going on, and we can have a conversation and just talk about it and see if there's a way that I can serve you. And if there isn't, and I know some other way you can be served, I will send you on to other resources for sure. Okay, so gratitude. Number three is patience. Oh, patience. Oh, hurry up, give me more patience. Oh, one of the things about myself that I found in my work and in my life is I expect a lot of myself. Like I push myself. I expect a lot out of myself in a lot of ways, although I'm softening with that a bit. But I have traditionally been someone who, like, I expect myself to do, when I was a student, to do really well in the classes and turn in a great project, and in work settings to always show up, always be on time, always do my best, always, um, do anything possible to, help an organization thrive or succeed or whatever. Always want to be at my best with my clients, everything else, and then in my life. And so I expect a lot from other people. So I was always someone who expected a lot from coworkers, expected a lot from leaders, the board, blah, blah, everybody. So with that personality type, patience was not always my strength. Now I'm really patient with children. I'm really patient with elderly people who can't move as quickly or whatever. I'm really patient with people who have, whatever challenges or special circumstances that they really, really need our patience. But when I'm with other high achieving people with no excuses, I can get a little impatient. And so this is something that I've worked on over the years, and I think I'm getting better at it. But anyway, so with patience in business and in life, anytime you feel yourself getting a little fired up, you start to get a little pumped inside, you're getting frustrated or something, just just do this. Think, breathe and think, breathe and think. Take a breath and stop and think. So take a breath, stop and think. Before you say something you regret, before you jump to an inappropriate conclusion, before you write an email that you cannot take back, once you send, think, breathe, stop, and think, and then proceed. When you feel less charged, if you can give yourself even 30 seconds to a minute, seriously, pause that long. That's it. 30 seconds to a minute before you go charging into somebody's office and tell them what you think, or again, write that email, or call them back, or start a fight with your spouse at home, or whatever it is, or chew out your kid. You can think, stop, breathe, stop, think, and then show some patience. Flexibility. Wow. Number 4 is flexibility in Lublin's book. Absolutely. When we can be flexible with team members, with each other, with ourselves, with our customers, with our clients, with, everything, our people in our lives. Oh, give them flexibility of time, flexibility of payment plans, flexibility of, um, work schedules, where they work, when, that kind of thing. It's just such a connecting point. People, we all need some grace, and we all have different lives and different ways we're wired. We had, I told you in a previous podcast, we had these adult children living with us for over a year recently, and we've gotten them they've moved out now, but they are evening people. They are night owls. So they actually, as the day progresses, they become more able to focus, more able to thrive with their work. And I'm the exact opposite. Like and my husband is too. So we're like, start out strong, right? We're stronger earlier, and more focused and more driven, and have more energy and concentration and ability to produce earlier, and then fade as the night, the day, the afternoon, evening goes on. And so that's really important to understand about your team, and your coworkers, and everybody you're living with or working with, right? Is when is their strongest time for conversation, to work on a project, to talk about something difficult, to whatever, to meet together for whatever reason. So that's one way to really be flexible. And all of these things, if you're noticing, all these things lead to what what author Jill Lublin calls the big 5, because of course this book is about business. The big 5: profits, revenues, customers, connectivity, and prospects. So to her, the profits of kindness, all these 7 things I'm talking about from her book, The Profit of Kindness, leads to more profits, more revenue, more customers, more connectivity, and more prospects. So, but I'm also discussing all the benefits of these approaches in your personal life as well. So let's keep going. We've talked about connection. We've talked about gratitude. We've talked about patience. We've talked about flexibility. Okay, the last 3. One is generosity. Generosity. I'm going to share something. This is maybe called going above and beyond, or, doing something that isn't exactly expected of you. Maybe she talks about the element of surprise, like the nice surprises, right? So here she talked about generosity marketing, and this is giving freely to a customer, which has been a major um, success in businesses. For example, these are examples she shares. Coca-Cola set up a special Coke machine dispenser in the middle of a college campus that gave out free drinks. Nice. The Kleenex company, during its quote unquote softness worth sharing campaign, allowed people to send free packs of Kleenex to their friends, to their sick family and friends. Nice, nice. A company called Sweet Green in Washington, D.C., which is a restaurant, gave out random acts of sweetness by leaving gift certificates on cards that had received parking tickets. Isn't that nice? Oh, that is so kind and generous. I love it. And then the Hyatt hotels, okay? Hyatt managers employees surprised patrons by picking up bar tabs and paying for spa treatments. Ooh, yummy. Now, that's generosity at its finest, those companies doing that. So, how can your company be generous, or how can you be generous in your lives? Whatever you're doing, whether you're volunteering, that is generous, just that. Absolutely. How can you be generous in your life with your coworkers, generous with your time without, of course, overdoing it, right? Losing your balance. But how can you be generous with your team? How can you be generous with your customers? Think, think, think. Number 6 is compassion. We all need compassion. We need it everywhere because guess what? Excuse me while I rub my tickling nose. For those of you watching this on YouTube, so the podcasts are also on my YouTube channel, Cindy Smarsh. The kindness principles. Compassion is, we all need it, right? Because we're human. We're human at home. We're human at the office. We're human everywhere we go, everywhere we are. And that means we have days when we didn't sleep very well, or times we don't feel our best. Maybe we've got a headache. Maybe we've got a backache. Maybe we're a little under the weather in some way. Maybe we've had, a loss in our life and we're not totally acclimated with that yet. Maybe you're going through a personal crisis and you need a little extra compassion in the workplace, a little extra time to finish projects, a little more flexibility to work around whatever's going on, whether you're moving or you're getting a divorce or somebody died, or a kid's going off to college and you're experiencing the empty nest, or whatever's going on, right? We need compassion. We need understanding. When we screw up, right? When we screw up a project, or we mess up a meeting with a customer, or we're late rolling into the staff meeting or whatever because things didn't go well getting everybody out the door that morning, or whatever it is, when we can show compassion, and grace to people, when they're simply being human beings, which we all are, it is just so powerful. And being compassionate to your customers, really knowing them, understanding their needs, and then responding, it is worth loads. This is worth so, so, so much. A lot of leaders, and authority figures, our parents, maybe when growing up, thought punishing us, being very direct, being punitive in their words or strong in their voices, that would make the greatest impact when we weren't doing the right thing or we were messing up. But actually, when you can approach people with kindness, even when you have to have tough conversations, or when you have to ask something more of them than what they delivered or anything, that with that compassionate tone, you will make more progress. You will get more of what you want if you can be compassionate, for sure, for sure. And then the last one she teaches is positivity. So having a positive mental attitude, speaking, language that is positive and encouraging, smiling at people, even showing the light in your eyes when you're interacting with others, giving encouragement when people might really need it. Um, Again, in the office, in all work settings and all personal settings, who doesn't appreciate someone who can be positive in this world, honestly? And it's very kind and it's attractive. The other thing about all these things: connection, gratitude, patience, flexibility, generosity, compassion, and positivity, these are attractive characteristics. They're attractive approaches to being. And, you want to, like attracts like, right? So if you're compassionate and you're patient and you're flexible, you're going to attract people who are as well. Now, what kind of people do you want to work with? What kind of customers do you want? What kind of people do you want to live with? What kind of people do you want to be on committees with? Be that person. Again, think heart to heart currency. Another cool thing that is in this book, again, I'm going to show it one more time: Jill Lublin's book, The Profit of Kindness. Another great thing shared is she talks about, the golden rule, which says treat others as you want to be treated. Many of us were schooled on this in our religions, or we heard it from, philosophers and stuff. Or treat other people as you want to be treated. Maybe our parents taught us that. Maybe we heard it at school from our teachers. Well, do you know about the platinum rule? This was new news to me. Where have I been? The platinum rule. I like it. It's better. It's even better. It comes from Ivan Misner, I believe is how you pronounce his name, Ivan Misner, who is the founder of BNI, Business Network International, the biggest networking company in the world. And he says the platinum rule is treat other people the way they want to be treated. Boom. Wow. I love that. I mean, the golden rule, I like it. It's strong. It's good. Treat others the way you want to be treated. But again, we're not all the same. Maybe how I want to be treated isn't how you want to be treated, right? So with the platinum rule, Mr. Meisner is saying treat others the way they want to be treated. So again, it is kind to approach people in all settings in life, to try to get to know them so we really understand what their wants, their needs, their desires are, so we can serve them in the best way possible. So I'm going to end on a little story that was also in the book that I just found so heartwarming. I loved it. Another company being extra kind and going the extra mile. So there's a guy whose name is Brandon Cook, and this was in New Hampshire years ago, maybe 20 some years ago. And his grandmother was in the hospital, I believe. Let me double check here. Yes, his grandmother was in the hospital, and what she was craving was Panera Bread's clam chowder. She wanted Panera Bread's clam chowder, okay? And so her grandson Brandon wanted to get her some, but the only day of the week that local Panera Bread was serving clam chowder was on Fridays, and this was not on a Friday. But nonetheless, the grandson persevered, and he talked to the manager of that Panera Bread, which was Susan Fortier. Oh, no, I might be butchering her name there. Sorry, Susan. And again, this was 20 years ago, at least, I believe. Oh, no, maybe not. Maybe 10 years ago. Anyway, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter when. It's been a while is what I'm saying. Susan might not still be there. I don't know. But anyway, she responded by making some clam chowder just for this grandmother and delivering it to the hospital, also with a box of cookies. I mean, wow. Right. So, guess what happened? So, of course, Grandma was so happy, as was Brandon, that they posted about this on Facebook and it got over 500,000. It went viral and it got over 500,000 likes and 22,000 comments on Panera's page. Now, do you think that little act of kindness, you know, was any big deal for Susan? I mean, it was so big hearted of her. I don't know how long it takes to make clam chowder, but let's say she gave this an hour. Let's say she gave it an hour to make the clam chowder, get it sealed up in the bowl, and get somebody to deliver it. Maybe she delivered it herself. I don't know. And the cookies, grab the cookies too. Maybe it took an hour of her time, maybe an hour and a half. I don't know. But wow, the impact that that act of kindness had is priceless. Just absolutely priceless, let alone what it did just for Grandma. Grandma probably recovered even better because she had the clam chowder she wanted. And I'm sure Brandon felt really good too. So this is what is talked about in this book. This is the profit of kindness. This is how kindness matters. It's like, it's not you're being kind to make money. It isn't that, but it's when you approach life with other people, personally and professionally, with these strong approaches, these strong characteristics, and really hold this bar really high for yourself, things are going to happen that are all good for you, for everyone around you, everyone you're attempting to serve, and for the relationships that are most important to you. So that's what I have for you today. Again, contact me, Cindy at cindysmarsh.com, if you'd like to have a conversation on how kindness can change your organization or your life personally. And I will talk to you again soon. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for being here. Please like and subscribe to our show and share this episode with anyone who can benefit. If you'd like to learn more about how the kindness principles can change your life, please DM me on LinkedIn. And thanks again for listening.